emphasis, really in any program that I do, and in my life, is community. And it hasn't always been that way for me. I think a lot of us live on an island. Like, I got this. I don't need anything. And to be able to be in community where when you are stuck and you need that reflection of yourself that you can't give yourself in that moment, to have a community that sees you bigger than you can see yourself is so important. So, for me, those two things, to keep asking, how may I serve? And to be open to that changing. It's like, how old school it is to think that you're only going to have one career and you're going to have that career your whole life. It's also very archaic to think that your sole purpose is this one thing and it's got to look the same way your whole life. So to be open to, okay, I know I'm here to serve, I'm here to share love in my specific way, but maybe I'm not teaching yoga anymore. I've let go of that title like a decade ago. It had expired with my heart, and it's developed into something new where I started training yoga teachers. So I didn't stop teaching necessarily, but I started teaching others to teach, and that was a new expression for me. And then I gave that up completely too. And I moved on to doing the soul purpose coaching. And now I'm teaching cryptocurrency basics. So, and I owe that to my connection to source and taking the time to do that every morning and be connected, and to the source of my life, which are the people in my life that I keep around, who we empower each other. And when we're stuck and we don't feel like that, super confident, I got it, I know who to go to, and they know who to go to. And it goes back and forth. And that is the most empowering thing ever. And I think it's one thing that's really missing a lot, that community. And also being vulnerable in community, being willing, especially if you're a leader and you're somebody who's like coaching people, to be able to, go to your community and say, damn, I'm feeling really down. I'm really stuck. I don't know what to do. That's powerful.
So for me,
Uh,
I mean, I feel
that's
like that
powerful.
too. It is powerful. I feel like that too, because I feel like sort of like a cat in my life, where I feel like I've had so many lives in this one lifetime, and typically it's preceded by sort of a death, not necessarily of a person, but of who I was formerly. So. Sorry, of course the landscapers are here right now if you can hear that.
Welcome.
um but so for me, it's been more or less rediscovering what's next for me. So I had my military career, and then that ended, and then after that, I had a career in pro wrestling, of all things, right? And then I also had a corporate career, and each of these were like different lives of mine that I found a lot of purpose and value in. And then there was a period of my life where I felt completely lost, namely my 30s. And I was going to school and finishing my degree programs and all of that. And all of these years of school I was attending with this goal of going to work in the Securities and Exchange Commission. So all of this years of accounting and finance and all of this studying. And then I got really sick and I had to have a kidney removed, right? And I remember waking up from the surgery and going, that's not what I'm meant to be doing with my life. I don't know what it is yet, but this is not it. This is not, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to I'm not going to I have like one more degree program, and I said I don't know if I'm going to finish that because I'm not doing that. This is not my purpose. And from that moment on, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I was open, and I was led down a path, and that path led me here. So now I realize how I serve, because once you serve in the military, you tend to have that need. It's almost like a need to continue to serve people.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the reasons why you join, even though I often tell people I joined because my mom wanted me to. That she asked me to, but I think it's because it was already in me to be of service. I was always the good friend, the good sister, the good daughter. And then I don't know if I could say I was a good sailor. I was a good sailor, but I had more fun than sailors should have. Sailors have a lot of fun too, by the way, but I had more fun than most sailors should have while they're serving in the military. That's a story for another day.
But that's
But
perfect. That's a great demonstration, of one of a tough time in your life. Like
yeah,
if you're stuck, like find the toughest time in your life and ask yourself, what was the purpose? What was the soul lesson there? And that will give you how to serve. Like
that's amazing.
I love what you shared at the beginning, how you opened the show and you're like, this is your weekly reminder that you're awesome, that you're worth it, that you're, everything you said was so empowering. That that is your message, and it comes from the opposite, from not feeling powerful, from that time in your life where you were not feeling all of that. And then you transformed something and you got who you are, and now you're here living your purpose, sharing it and wanting everybody to get that.
It is. It is.
That's incredible, Kia.
It is.
It comes from a feeling of, having felt not enough. It comes from a feeling of, I know what it's like to be lost. I know what it's like to feel like I don't deserve. I know what it's like to be in a dark place. So I show up here every week to remind people that you don't have to be alone and stuck there. Not everyone has a good support system also. Some people have an environment that's invalidating and destructive. And your mindset and your environment are the two key components of how you're going to live your life, whether how happy you're going to be, how fulfilled you're going to be. And so if you don't have that support system, I've learned through London Real is you can create a virtual support system that empowers you and supports you through some of the hardest times of your life. And you might not have even met these people in person.
Mm.
And I do that here. That's what Hot Topics is about. It's a place for people to come and feel supported and ask your questions and vibe with our guests and all of that stuff. But to remind you that life is supposed to be enjoyed. You're supposed to be passionate and purpose filled, and sometimes we
Yes.
just get lost.
Yes, it's so real. Thank you for keeping it real. It is. It's what inspires people. And I really think we teach what we need to learn the most. So I'm teaching people to live their purpose, and I wake up some mornings and I'm like, man, I just maybe nobody needs this. I start giving myself excuses. Maybe this isn't the right. And I'm like, oh, here I'm in it too. I'm in it with them, and we're all spiraling together. And there's just, you know, I just have I'm 2 steps ahead of the people I'm coaching just because I've been there, done that, transformed this, and there's no reason they can't be here, done that, transform this too, and move on to their next level. And by me sharing with them, guess what? I get to transform and get to my next transformation because they allowed me to serve them.
Well, how do you, I mean, I have a big question here.
Go for it.
How do you even, I mean, if somebody doesn't went through any, for example, Kia uh, shared her story, and somehow she managed, her soul talked to her. What if you're someone that the soul hasn't talked yet? You want your soul to talk to you, but hasn't done it yet. So how do you find your purpose?
Oh,
How do you navigate your life
yes,
to get
that's
to
a great
be?
question. So, one of the ways that I find is effective is using the mirror of people around you who love you, respect you, honor you, really see you. I remember I was asking around, what am I really here to do? How do I serve best? And I was getting answers from people. And one of the things that came up that was a common denominator from the answers is like that I'm very nurturing, and around me, people just get to be themselves and they get to um, experience being loved regardless of how bad they've been in their life or how great they are. And I took that and I ran with it, Matilda. And it was something I wasn't aware of, that one I could use like in my career. It's just who I am. It's how it was just like they my community reflected back to me what my gifts were. So that's one way, is to ask the people in your life that question. I don't know how I'm supposed to serve. What do you think is my highest calling? How do you see that I'm unique in my service and what I have to provide for the world? And listen, and you'll get the answer. They can see it a lot quicker than you can, just like people can see our faults a lot quicker than we can. They can also see your gifts a lot quicker than you can. We're a
And
little bit. Mhm,
you used serve, the
mhm.
word you used serve. Do you think that's the way to find your soul purpose is by looking how you can serve, or is there other ways around it?
You know, I think service is a pathway to the divine. And if you ever studied yoga, yoga has four paths. And one of the paths is karma yoga, which is selfless service. So it's one path to be in alignment with your soul and, yeah, to discover your soul purpose. There's other